I'm not teaching, I am public learning. But hi and welcome to Learning for the Life in UK test part 364, Taxation, while doing medial plane training. And if you participate in the medial plane training, that is your own risk. So that is not from the book for the test, but something then from somewhere else, because that was a bit thin there, and that is a very important part. So we're having two things to that. I'm just going to start with the first thing. That is from gov.uk, income minus tax minus rate. Yes. And that was also advised in the book, that website. So we're writing here, current rates and allowances. How much income tax you pay in each tax year depends on how much of your income is above your personal allowance, how much of your income falls within each tax band. That is for 2025, 2026. And here, the personal allowance. The standard personal allowance is £12,570, which is the amount of income you do not have to pay tax on. So every person is allowed to earn £12,570 in a year, and on that money they don't have to pay tax. That is free. That is the money they actually own. If you earn more than £100,000, your personal allowance goes down by £1 for every £2 that your adjusted net income is above £100,000. That means your allowance is zero if your income is £125,140 in a year. So this allowance of £12,000 is then somehow reduced so that you don't have allowance anymore if you're making more than £125,000 per year. And there's also something, you may be able to earn more before you start paying income tax if you claim blind person's allowance. This tax-free allowance is added to your personal allowance, so there's also something for blind people. But we don't have, this is additional, we just want a little bit. So we're not going through that in that detail as it's here, but it's not for the test already. Income tax rates and bands. This table shows the tax rates you pay in each band if you have a standard personal allowance of £12,570. And it's also different in Scotland. That was very different, but in Scotland it's different. So the band, we're having now 4 bands. The first band is personal allowance, the second basic rate, the third higher rate, and the fourth one additional rate. And then these are the numbers, what you pay taxes. So the first band, the personal allowance, these are the first £12,570. And there's zero tax rate. So the first £12,570 are free. They can you actually own. So if you only make £12,570 in a year, you don't have to pay tax. Then the basic rate from 12,000 until 50,000. Then you pay 20%. So if you make 50,000 in a year, you have to pay 20% tax. That means 10,000. So if you have earned £50,000, 10,000 are going to the country. But that's all basic. I don't know if there are more details. We just want to, as I said, just a little overview, just a little example. If it's 1% or 90%, both is possible. It's 20% from 10,000 to 50,000. And then there's the third band, the higher rate, that is from 50,000 to 125,000, where you must pay 40%. So if you make £100,000, you have to pay £40,000 to the country. So if you make £100,000, you have to pay £40,000 to the country, and you earn only £60,000. And then there is the fourth band, the additional rate. If you make more than £125,000 per year, you have to pay 45%. So it's from a quarter to half. If you make less than 50,000, it's a quarter. If you make more than 100, if you make more, the half of the money. I said it's just a detail. It's 20,000 from 12 to 50, 20% from 12 to 50,000, and around 40% from 50,000 onwards. Now, did we say something? How much income tax you pay in each tax year depends on how much of your income falls within each tax band. So, if you make 100,000, you technically have to pay 40%, so 40,000. Now, but half of that is in the tax band of basic rate. So if you make 100,000, you're in the rate of higher rate. But you also fall into the tax rate of basic rate for the first 50,000. So if I understand it correctly, if you make 100,000, you are paying for the first 50,000 20%, and for the second 50,000 40%. So you don't have to pay 40%, but you have to pay 10,000 and 20,000, so 30,000. On the first 50,000 you have to pay only 20% tax. On the second 50,000 to 100,000, you have to pay the 40%. So it's 10,000 for the first 50,000 and 20,000 for the second 30,000. So you have to pay 30,000 tax. They said something about the personal allowance goes down if you make more than 100,000, but they did not set it to the basic rate of the other things. And the first thing here is saying how much of your income falls within each how much of your income falls within each tax band. It does not say if you make more than 50,000, all of your money. More than 50,000, all of your money is taxed with 40%. That seems to be the first 50,000 VAT and then 50 to 100,000 VAT. But I don't know. But it's enough. We just want a little overview. If it's not 20% or 30%, we are not here to make our tax form. We just want a little overview. What is the rent? What is the tax? What do you have to pay if you are in the United Kingdom? Because that should be somewhere mentioned in that whole thing. It's something between a quarter and a half. Around 30%, let's say 30%. And I think the rest is not so important for us right now. It goes on and on here, many pages, and these are just the pages explaining simpler what is written in the law. We just were here for an overview, around 30%. And in the next part we will talk about what the country is doing with that money. This is a lot of money. If you're making 100,000, you're giving 30,000. What are we doing with 30,000 pound? We have that in the next part. We will talk about that. Now, if you are here just for then about what the country is doing with the money, then you can directly to the next part. If not, and you're here for medical plan training, then you can participate in the medical plan training at your own risk. We're having the legs sitting wide apart, and we're breathing in and out loud. And out. Again, in. And out. And out. Again, in. And out. One last one. Again, in. And out. And again, in. And out. Now the next exercise. If I would know it, with your same so yes, we're bringing one leg up into the right angle of the leg with a flexed foot. We're having even line hips which hold up the back, and we're pressing from the top against the knee. You can do that quite easy. You can put effort into it. You can put a lot of effort into it. You can take it also somewhere in between. With pressure, but have a little bend in the elbow. We turn up with the back and have even line hips. And we're changing, not to the other side, the leg up, right angle of the leg, flex foot, even line hips, turn up the back, and we're pressing from the top. With a little bend in the elbow. And to the next exercise, one leg again up, same setup, and now we're pressing from the inside. So right angle of the leg, flex foot, even line hips, turn up the back, little bend in the elbow, and press against the knee with, you can do it also easy, or moderate force. And now with the other leg, the leg up, right angle of the leg, flex foot, even line hips, turn up the back, and we're pressing against the inside of the knee, we're having a little bend in the elbow. A little longer. And to the next exercise, one leg up. Now when he presses up and to the side, up and to the side. Even lined hips. Tall up at the back. And the knee presses up to the side, up to the side. And we're changing the leg, the other leg up. And the knee presses up to the side, up and to the side. few more. And the last exercise, heavy swing though. We're bringing one leg up, right angle of the leg, flex foot even at hip sole of the back, and we're pressing from the outside against the knee. And we're opening slowly the leg. And we're closing again. And we're going to do this for 4 times. So the second time. And for the third time. And the last time. And now with the other leg. The leg up. Right angle of the leg, flex foot, even tips of the back, and we're pressing against the knee from the outside. And we're opening slowly. And we're closing again slowly. And we're opening again. And we're closing again. And we're closing. And I think that was just the third time. So we're having one more time left, the fourth time. And we're doing the closing exercise. We're breathing in. And out. In. And out. Again in. Out. Again in. Out. Now breathe in and close the leg. And out. That was a video plane training. We're having a little time left to look for the architect's first gardens. So there's Kew Garden, Sissinghurst, Hitcote, and Craves Castle. In Craves Castle. Let's stay with it, not one more. Now the architects. Let's go on. The new one will be Sir Edwin Lutyens. He designed New Delhi and the Cenotaph in Whitehall. So Sir Edwin Lutyens designed New Delhi and the Cenotaph in Whitehall. So in the United Kingdom there are standing cathedrals from the medieval time. Durham, Lincoln, Salisbury, Canterbury. And the White Tower of the Tower of London is an example of Norman architecture. And there are great country houses, for example, Hardwick Hall. Was that Hardwick Hall? That was Hardwick Hall in Derbyshire. Then there was Indigo Jones. Robert Adams was called. Indigo Jones was there, and Indigo Jones, what was he? I think said Indigo Jones. He made Queen's House at Greenwich as well, Queen's House at Greenwich, and Banqueting House in Whitehall in London. Then there was Scottish Robert Adams, and he designed. He was influential, for example, for Bath. There where Royal Trescott is, and also did he do Dumfries House in Scotland. And when we had that in the mid-19th century, the Gothic style had a revival, and for example the St. Pancras station in London, and also the town halls of Manchester and Liverpool, also Sheffield, Manchester and Sheffield. Manchester and Sheffield are designed in the new revival of the Gothic style, and St. Pancras and the Houses of Parliament. And now new we had someone, Sir Edwin Lutyens. He designed New Delhi and the Cenotaph and Whitehall. Kew Gardens, Sissinghurst, Hitcode and Craig's Castle. I thank you very much, and until next time.